So I put all my Rembrandt things here. Inadvertently I pressed on the stop button. This is very easy to do with this camera. It's one of the drawbacks. So here all the Rembrandt material. I've got more here. And here too, I think. Although this is part of what I have to put order into. And it's a flowing, dynamic kind of order over the years. In this really nice little painted closet, I've got all my journals, diaries, notebooks. And this writing desk is going to go into the bedroom here. This is usually where I write my dreams. I've got a laptop to write my dreams. And here you see the floor. Oh, looks like the white balance is having trouble with this. There it goes. More rocks. The view outside. The trees on the hill. So I'll show you what it looks like in my bedroom at the moment. Yeah, you've seen this before. You have got the piano, the corner for meditation, and my computer. This has been my office for the last season or so because of, like I said, noise from the upstairs neighbors. But I realized that the little kid is now over 3 years old and he's going to kindergarten, which means gone in the morning, and that gives me a good chance to work, to get into the work. Here, it's another one of these beautiful days. Look at that. The irises, the dried lilies, lilacs. Painting by Juliana, a mirror on the wall, and the place where I dream the most. More mirrors, mirrors and more mirrors. Picture of Jacques Tati that I like. Now we'll go in the kitchen where I want to do some eating, but first, to complete the tour, we've got the bathroom as photo lab. Here's my beautiful enlarger, Siemens Omega, a wonderful, really nice high for big enlargements. The clock, which is set on winter time, so it's 20 to 1. Negative, what do you call them? For the negatives, this film strip has been hanging for 10-12 years here. And it's taking on a silvery appearance. It's very interesting. I'm going to have to... It was like a double exposure thing. And here are the films that I managed to develop yesterday evening. Although I've been really out of practice. But they came out well. Working with chemicals is starting to become a problem because I don't pour them down the drain like I used to, but I have to collect them and then get rid of them in rather large quantities. And so far I haven't had to pay So here we are in the kitchen again. The Chendies are also there. Chendi at the far corner, and it's time for me to eat something. I'm gonna bring this a little closer and eat something. I turn the radio off because it interferes maybe with the recording. So today's Wednesday. Bad dreams again. This time I was in Hamburg and met up with a little boy who was delivering newspapers, I thought. And then I came onto like a cage full of tropical birds, really beautiful. And the scene immediately cut to indoors, and I was in the apartment in which this little boy lives, apparently a very rich little boy. And I don't know, maybe they were looking for a job for me as tutor or something like this. And I went into a room and I saw a little baby like in a small tub with suds all over. And the little boy told me that this was not a real baby, this was like his toy. And kind of to prove that, I saw that the little baby had like a piece of his skull hanging like that from a piece of skin still. And the baby didn't seem to be bleeding or having a hard time of it, and was playing in the suds. And I realized, aha, okay, that's not a real baby, but I was horrified all the same. And then in the morning as I started waking up and like wasn't having any images, but already in a thought process, I was thinking a lot about, or recurrently, repeatedly about my name, or changing my name, my identity to JMC with a slash, a dash, a low dash, 1951. Just using this like to identify myself as a name, and this went over and over and over again. Really good one. I drank the milk already. Brigitte's still sick. She's got a flu, had about 38 degrees Celsius centigrade fever this morning. So feeling out of sorts. Didn't go to work, although this is the day she works full time at the church, the Protestant church. And I was kind of bummed out. I don't know, I think it's having to make order, taking everything apart, although I don't know, maybe it was 3 months ago that I made this order and was satisfied with it. But then I realized I wasn't using it. The Chendi room, for example, that was at a table just for putting things on and looking at them, and that didn't seem very useful. And my bedroom is starting to feel crowded. And so with this thing, the neighbors being away, I can reintegrate, I can move back into my bureau and have more immediate access to the Rembrandt books, because to write my article I have to keep looking in the books for quotations and so on, and I wasn't using the bureau, the office either, really. Jenny, this is a piece of hard-boiled egg. Do you like that? Hey Winnie. Hey Winnie Winnie. Yeah, Winnie. And the other reason I'm bummed out is that I'm realizing I'm living, or have been living for the last few months, actually more or less the whole year, like on the edge. And on the edge professionally, not having money, not knowing where to put my energy, my effort, my attention, wanting to write a book, but how do you do that? Especially if it's like about Rembrandt and involves research, but not having a publisher, not knowing who it's for, who my audience is, and not really progressing, although the Schaufenster, my shop window, this is, it's evolving. I'm into my third or fourth exhibition there, and it's still rather hermetic. Chendies. Still rather hermetic, but I like it, and other people like it too. And I'm realizing how difficult it is to live with this unclear identity, you know, being a twin. That means not being biologically constructed as an individual, but already having a biological experience of being together. But the other twin is too busy replacing you to give that substance, this twin relationship, a substance. So that probably explains the codependent relationship that I have with Brigitte on the one hand, and the codependent, I assume, relationship that Claudine has with Fabian. Very close. They live in 18 square meters and have for the last year. I've got 3 times that much space with just 2 birds and a girlfriend who doesn't come every day. And then being neither French, neither American, and of course not German, having to work in English for my translating with French and German, living in German, my everyday life I live in German, and that's been the case since 1991. The second half of 1991 when I moved to Hamburg. Since then I've been in Germany. This is a hell of a long time, 22 years. I've never been in any country so long as in Germany, a place I would never have thought of living in. And one thing leading to another, here I am and still am. And then being a translator, dealing with art most of the time, museums, and then an art historian with this strange Rembrandt project, this very idiosyncratic, like it's bordering on monomania, dealing with one painting, even if this one painting immediately calls another painting into the picture, which is the companion piece that I talked about it yesterday and every now and then, which is in the Louvre and attributed to Samuel Koning now. So let's call it the Koning painting. So immediately it splits into two. And then branches out into more and more paintings and pictures and images and so on. So not established professionally, either as an art historian or as an artist or as a poet. Although I write, make pictures, installation, and live my art in my particular way. There's really a lot to get confused about, unsure about, call myself into question every other day. And if Brigitte and I split, I would know how to keep myself busy, but I'm not sure I would be on sure footing. And it's ironic in that respect that my back problem compounded by this vitamin B12 deficiency leads to insensitivity, numbness in the feet, which means I don't feel my feet very clearly. I don't feel temperatures all that. I mean, I don't feel the temperature that much, and of course the contact with the ground is also impaired. So here I am. And I'm hoping that this process of making videos and talking out loud and talking English will permit something to gel, so that I know how to keep on going. Because if I lost Brigitte, that would be a major catastrophe in a small town like Staufen. I would be very sad. I would miss her. And then, but what if I lose my sister? I mean, apparently this is what it adds up to, her not communicating with me. And that's my only family. in the whole world. Everybody else, these are half brothers and sisters that I never lived with. So I don't have a direct relationship to them. I hope Chendi is not working on her hole, because she has a very sharp beak, and it could be that she made the wound herself, maybe inadvertently, just scratching too much. Or sometimes they look for nutrients by picking at the roots of the feathers where there's something. Hey, I just realized I could turn the display so that I can see if it's still going. Wow, this is an advantage for this camera, although the picture is really bad. I can see myself, I can see the screen, and I can see if it's still recording. That's really great. So maybe I'll do, this is not a studio talk in a strict sense, because I'm not talking about art directly. Maybe I can use this camera for, let's say, like a diary. I wonder how long I can keep this up, but I have a very strong need to talk. Coconut. So setting up my office again is going to take up a couple of hours, and I have to lug this incredibly heavy oak closet. What do you call these things? See, sometimes I have to look for my words in English. Hey, Chendi. And then, of course, looming on the horizon is the option of selling my apartment, which could be a really big loss, because I won't be able to live any cheaper than here. And but it would give me capital so that I could work and write my book, a book. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to keep mixing them, as I've done my whole professional life, mixing the translating and the artwork and the research. And as I've already said, it may be that art does not really exist anymore in a living sense, except as a profession. But seeing how art has progressed over the last century, the idea of a professional artist is more absurd than ever. I mean, a painter makes paintings hang on walls and fill up the place. You don't have to call it art, it's a nice picture. But today art has to proclaim itself as art. Because this is art. This is not junk. It's art. I've got a little mini poster that says, "Is it art or can I throw it away?" Art and life are so intertwined. And of course, life and the economy are also intertwined, so you can't get around it. So why art for one person like me? I like doing it. I like doing it. I like having this particular framework with the history that it has, which says that the context can be constantly redefined, expanded, or narrowed down, focused, and that part of the effort of understanding it, appreciating it, being involved in it has to do with defining the context, finding out where does this belong? Where does it come from? Most of contemporary art is completely lost without a context. Contextualization. Chendies. Unfortunately, they don't like coconut. Maybe I make a thin slice. To try it. Winnie. Winnie, Winnie. Yeah. Yeah, Chendies. Winnie, does she see herself on the screen? I haven't looked to see how the chestnut tree is doing. I assume well. I've transplanted and planted so many things and have a good record. Oh, that was good. So Chendies. Winnie, 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 Winnie. Hey, Winnie. 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 It's not gonna work. Winnie. Once Winnie sat on an egg. Here's an egg. What do you do with this egg, Winnie?